Should you lease or finance the new Tesla Model Y Juniper long-range all-wheel drive? Now, in my opinion, you should definitely lease this car, and I'll explain why in this video. So, for those of you that don't know, right now Tesla is offering a lease special of $1,000 down, or you can finance the Model Y Juniper for 1.99%, and these promotions both expire on June 16th, according to the Tesla website. But anyways, in this video, what we'll do in the first part is we'll study this lease deal in detail, talk about the mileage, the due at signing amount, the taxes and fees that are due, all of that little nitty-gritty stuff. In the second part of this video, we'll run my 1.25% rule of leasing on this Tesla Model Y, and I'll explain why leasing this car makes more sense than financing it, and also explain why this lease deal represents a good lease deal in terms of value. And in the third part of this video, I'll talk about the other advantages of leasing this car, like the lower monthly payment, the buyout option, the depreciation or the impact that depreciation can have if you finance this car. We'll talk about the $7,500 EV tax credit that you get when you lease it, and you don't always get it when you finance it. We'll go into into those details so that you can make a better buying or purchasing decision. So if that sounds good to you, please be sure to like this video and please be sure to follow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are on the Tesla website. And as I mentioned, we're going to be studying the long-range all-wheel drive in this video, which you can lease right now for $499 a month. There's $1,000 down. It's a 36-month lease that allows for 10,000 miles a year. We're not going to add any more options. We're not going to change the color. We're just going to work on this deal as it's written right here. So we'll click on Edit Terms and Savings, and Tesla makes this really, really easy. So as you can see, it's $1,000 down. It's a 36-month lease, and if you want to do 24 months, you can do 24 months. It's just going to impact the monthly payment. It goes up 16 bucks. I'm going to leave this at 36 months. You can also dynamically adjust the mileage allowance if you want to do 12 or 15,000 miles a year. You can see how that would impact the monthly payment. I'm going to leave it at 10,000 miles a year. We're not going to check this box that says include estimated gas savings of $100, but we are going to check this box that says include estimated taxes and fees. And you'll see that the due at signing amount jumps to $4,211 with the same $1,000 down. Now, a lot of people get this confused. When they see this $1,000 down, they think that that's all they have to put down. But remember, this $1,000 right here does not include taxes and fees. So you have to pay taxes on the $7,500 EV tax credit, and then you have to pay registration fees. So in my zip code, you're looking probably about $1,000, and then you have other fees, probably like some shipping fees, transportation fees, and the acquisition fee and first month's payment, and all those things come out to $4,211. Now, what you're also going to see here is that if you go over the allowed mileage allowance, you're going to have to pay 25 cents per mile. So my advice to you would be to, if you drive 12,000 miles a year, get a lease that allows for 12,000 miles a year. If you drive 15,000 miles a year, get a lease that allows for 15,000 miles a year, because what's going to happen is if you get a 10,000 mile a year lease and then you end up driving 15,000 miles a year, you're going to end up paying a lot more than 25 cents per mile. So that's just a little pro tip for all of you that are watching. And then now what you're going to see is that all the Tesla leases include the $7,500 EV tax credit, which they call the $7,500 Tesla leasing incentive. And then the buyout amount is $33,251. And if you adjust like the mileage, for instance, that's going to impact the residual. And you'll see that the option to purchase increases to $32,243. Excuse me, it lowers to $32,243. Now, what I want to do in this part of the video is explain why the Tesla Model Y is a good lease deal in terms of value by running my 1.25% rule of leasing. So what you're going to do is take the effective monthly payment, divide it by the MSRP, and anytime you get a number over 1.5%, that's a vehicle that I would typically finance instead of lease. Under 1.5% is a vehicle that I would lease. Under 1.25% is what I consider a great lease deal and a vehicle you should definitely lease, and under 1% is an amazing lease deal. So let's go ahead and run it for this Tesla Model Y. We'll take this $4,211 that's due at signing, and we'll subtract the monthly payment of $561 since it's included in the due at signing amount. We'll divide this by 36 since it's a 36-month lease. And what you've done is taken that due at signing amount and broken it into 36 equal parts, and you get $111. Now what we're going to do is add the monthly payment of $561 back in, and you get an effective zero down monthly payment of $662. So when I say effective zero down monthly payment, that means all taxes and fees have been rolled in. If you multiplied this 662 by 36, that would be the total cost of the lease over 36 months. Now, if we were to buy this car, or the MSRP on this car, it's $48,990. So what I'm going to do is divide this number by the MSRP, which is $48,990. And that gives me 0.0135. I'm going to multiply this by 100 to make it a percentage. And when I do that, I get 1.35%. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, anytime you run this calculation and you get a number over 1.5%, that typically is a good lease deal in terms of value. That's a car that you should definitely lease, and you're going to, save a lot of money by leasing this particular car compared to financing it. Now, what we can do in this part of the video is actually compare the lease to finance payments, right? So if you lease this car, we already kind of went over this, but with about $4,211, your monthly payment is going to be $561 a month. Now let's go ahead and structure a finance with the same $4,211 due at signing. Let's click on finance. Let's assume you qualify for the $7,500 federal tax credit. And let's say you put $4,211 down. Your monthly payment's going to be at $689 a month compared to $561 a month. So you're saving about $120 a month. I mean, even if you did 12,000 miles, you're still saving $100 a month. On top of that, when you lease this car, you don't, what I'm trying to say is anyone and everyone gets the $7,500 EV tax credit. So if you finance this car, or if you want to buy it, you have to meet these adjusted gross income limitations. Like, you have to meet this criteria. $300,000, you have to make less than $300,000 for a married couple filing jointly, or less than $225,000 as a head of a household, or under $150,000 for all other filers. If you don't meet these requirements, you will not get the $7,500 EV tax credit. On top of that, there are price caps. So if your vehicle exceeds any of these price caps, you will not get the $7,500 EV tax credit because your vehicle will not be eligible. But when you lease it, everybody gets the $7,500 EV tax credit, regardless of whether you're financing or regardless of your income, right? You could be Jeff Bezos and you'd still get the $7,500 EV tax credit. So let's go ahead and pull up this edit terms and savings again. And another thing that I want to mention is when you lease this car, you're also not going to have to pay for gap insurance, right? So gap insurance, I don't know what it could cost, but I think it's like $20 or $30 a month. So you're going to save money there. But the biggest thing is you're going to save money on depreciation, right? So a lot of people finance this car and then they go to trade it in or sell it 2 to 3 years down the road, and they have $5, $6, $7, $1,000 of negative equity, maybe even more. I know people that had $10,000, $15,000 of negative equity with Teslas, and that's because they depreciate at a rapid rate. And when you lease it, you know what your out-of-pocket obligation is going to be, right? And that's a huge advantage of leasing. And if you want to keep this car for any reason at all, you can see here that there is a buyout amount. I don't know why my Tesla website's kind of freaking out right now, but yeah, as I was mentioning, you have a buyout amount, right? So you can buy this car at the end of the lease, depending on how many miles you choose, but you can buy out this car for $32,243 as written right here. So for any reason, if you have positive equity or you just want to keep the car for a long time, you kind of are paying down the principal portion, of your loan essentially, and you're able to buy it for $32,243 instead of the $48,990 that it costs brand new. And ladies and gentlemen, that is why I think you should lease the Tesla Model Y. And that's why I think you should lease most electric vehicles, mainly due to the depreciation, but you also get, a lot of other protections like diminished value protection. So a lot of people would potentially buy this Tesla Model Y, and then maybe you get in a fender bender. Even though you get the car repaired, you now have an accident on your Carfax report or your vehicle history report, and your car is worth $3,000, $4,000 less than it should have been, right? You've taken a big hit, and that's something that you have to realize when you go to sell that car by owner or trade it in. But when you lease it, you can just get the car fixed, buy the insurance according to Tesla's standards, and you can still turn that car in at the end of the lease term and not have to take a financial hit. If you have any questions about leasing, let me know in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, please be sure to check out DriveMatch.com. It's a company that I co-founded where you can get awesome pre-negotiated lease deals on a bunch of different cars all around the country. Thank you all for watching. Financial knowledge is power. Please like and follow for more.